As a father, I've faced my own parenting challenges. And from Community Action Partnership in San Luis Obispo, California, we have the director of the POPS program, Melinda Sokolowski, who's going to talk to us about this Supporting Father Involvement project. Welcome, Melinda.
Thanks for having me.
What is POPS?
POPS stands for Positive Opportunities for Parenting Success. And it is a research study that we are doing with UC Berkeley, Yale, and Smith. It's conducted over 9 years. We're one of 5 counties participating in California.
I'm impressed. Community Action Partnership with universities in a 9-year research project. That sounds really challenging. Now, you've brought a couple of guests with you today. Could you introduce your guests for us?
My 2 guests are our licensed therapists that conduct our counseling sessions with the mothers and fathers that we work with. Bill Schmidt is a licensed marriage family therapist, and
Welcome,
Laura
Bill.
Ortiz.
Hi, Laura. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So, what kind of results? People want to know, okay, research is interesting, but what are the results? What are you finding in your project?
Sure. Well, the results have been a really exciting part of the project, and what we found so far is that dads and moms who participated in our program have shown signs of decreased stress, decreased anxiety. Dads have been more involved in their children's lives, both physically and emotionally, just more connected and more engaged. And one of the most exciting things we found is that the couple satisfaction has really maintained, and typically with parents of young children, couple satisfaction tends to decrease over time, and what we've been able to do is really maintain that level of satisfaction and really help couples.
Now, I know sometimes it's challenging for men. I mean, you know, if my wife would come to me and say, we need to go see a therapist, I'm immediately going to say, I don't think so, or it's your problem. Sometimes could be a reaction. How do you overcome that objection when you're trying to reach the mother and the father?
Well, first of all, we tell them it's not therapy. You know, and you're right. Usually it's the mom that drags the dad. But once we introduce ourselves, and it's very casual up front, and they get to know us a little bit, and they find out that it's very non-threatening, and actually they look forward to coming.
So how do you implement your programs, and what are the aspects of this program?
Well, our groups are run weekly, so we meet with our families every
Okay.
single week for 13 weeks, and groups are about 2.5 hours. We do provide childcare for our families, so it makes it really accessible. We
Right.
run groups in the evenings, so we can accommodate dads who might be working.
Right. So what are some of the unique aspects of the POPS program, Melinda?
The family experiences a bonding relationship with the 2 therapists, but they're also assigned a case manager who serves as a family advocate for them and connects them with resources that they may need beyond the services we provide them. And we establish relationships that last 18 months or longer with the families that we're serving.
Do you find, as therapists, do you find that this case management component is helpful?
Absolutely. A lot of our families are struggling with basic needs, and so once they get those met, they're really able to connect and work together in our groups.
Now, Bill, do you have any advice for families and moms and dads that are just feeling stressed out?
You know, a lot of people are going through a lot of stress right now just because of the economy and just the things of life. And yeah, you know, when people come together, one thing we do is to look at your stress and kind of normalize it. What you're going through is what you're going through. And a lot of people try to avoid it, you know, try to do other things to avoid your stress, but stress is normal with, you know, in life. And so how do we handle that? And in fact, one of our groups is totally dedicated on stress and stress reduction. Some tools you can use to reduce stress, things that might help you, and looking at what you're doing right now that's kind of making you stressful, and what can you do different, whether it be a walk on the beach or listen to music, or, you know, a time together as a date night or something, and look at life a little bit differently.
So new tools to deal with stressful situations. Now, Laura, I'm a father and I have a daughter. And daughters and fathers have unique relationships like moms and daughters do. What advice would you have for fathers and daughters?
Well, it's something that we really emphasize in all of our groups, just really working on the relationship between dads and their daughters, and really showing families that when they parent together, that is really the relationship that their kids are seeing. So your little girl, we tell dads all the time, your little girl is going to grow up and going to pick somebody exactly like you as a partner. And so how you treat your wife with love and respect and care and kindness is just how they're going to grow up and pick somebody just like that in their own life. And I think that that really drives the message home for a lot of our fathers, because they really can look at their own child and say, gosh, what I want most for them is to grow up in a healthy, happy relationship, and I have got to model that myself.
Absolutely. And that's what we all want, is for our children to grow up healthy and safe. Do you have any future advice about the project, and how has the Recovery Act assisted in the development and growth of this project?
We're in the final 3-year phase of the research portion of the project, but because fathers are so important, a lot of our community resources are coming together and watching this program closely and wanting to integrate it in small ways and maybe hopefully help sustain the project further. We work with organizations to make sure that they're having father-friendly policies, something as simple as a father-friendly reception area. Staff are welcoming fathers to participate in the program. So we're slowly integrating father-friendliness and father involvement on many different layers in the community, and hopefully going to move forward and sustain beyond the research project.
I'm curious what your research might be showing about the relationship between fathers and sons. What are you finding out?
The boys in the family, they're watching their dad, and they're watching their dad, how he's treating mom. And he set an example how men are supposed to treat women. And it can be a good example or a bad example. And so we make that conscious for the dad that your son is watching you, treating how you treat his mom. So we want to set a good example.
Melinda, how is this project being impacted, or is it relating to Recovery Act? Because one of the things we've been talking about is the Recovery Act and how it's assisting in developing and growing programs. How is that touching upon the POPS program?
Well, the great aspect of the POPS program is that as we've evolved over the years, we've been able to integrate different types of groups. It is a research study which has very specific guidelines, but we're going to be expanding to work with more Head Start families and in a different region of our county. So it's really exciting to us to connect with families that already have great comprehensive services within Community Action Partnership, but we're going to kind of tack on to the father involvement aspect of those programs and just kind of emphasize it more with good communication between parents and add to their parenting program.
Great. This is a wonderful program. Thank you so much for sharing the story of POPS at Community Action Partnership of San Luis Obispo. Thank you.
Thanks.
What a wonderful story, telling the story of community action, working with moms and dads to raise their children for healthier families in the future. Community action, helping people, and changing lives.